do this webinar presentation today. The presentation or the webinar, we're going to talk about the mobile DLP. Start by just giving you a brief explanation about the DLP and the new problem that the mobile world or the mobile era provide to the DLP. Then we'll briefly talk about the Let Mobile solution, our solution, just in order to give you the ground to understand the 4-layer of data leak prevention. The Let Mobile solution is unique and it's different from probably the solution you know in the market today. So this is the reason I want to go over the solution itself. We're going to cover the 4 layers of data leak prevention. We're going to compare current solution in the market in this BYOD area, and we're going to summarize and answer a few of your questions. So any questions that you may have, please feel free to send them in the question box. We will, at the end, we will answer a few questions, and of course, we will send you answer to all your questions at the end of the presentation. So let's get going. So why mobile DLP? I think most of you will don't have to agree. This is what Gartner says, but IDC and the other guys predict the same. Basically, what it says is in the coming years, there are going to be more smart devices in the world than human beings, which basically means that every person will have some kind of computer, mobile computer, in his hand, in his living room, which he will be able to consume personal data, but furthermore, he will be able to consume and connect to corporate resources, and we also believe, that he will demand this access. So we're going to see a huge demand for mobile access to corporate data in the enterprise. So currently, we have the DLP solution. The DLP solution are quite struck. There is quite good coverage of solution for different problems. But the main thing here is in the past, basically, you had a laptop or a PC per employee. This PC or laptop was provisioned, managed, controlled by the IT. It was corporate owned, it was not the user owned. Everybody understands that the corporate can enforce whatever policy it wants on whatever with whatever rules he wants, and this device is the corporate. If he wants, the corporate can wipe it, can delete it, can encrypt it, and even choose the model for this user to use. So it was totally corporate control, which basically allow you to define whatever solution or to develop and install whatever solution you want in order to protect this endpoint that you know so well. Now in this new era, when there are so many new devices, the problem is much, much harder, I believe. So now you have multiple devices per user. It's not uncommon to see one person with an iPad, an iPhone, and even 2 iPhones or 2 Android devices per one person. So there's multiple devices per person. Now it's only start with the smartphones and tablets, the TVs around the corner, wearables around the corner, Google Glass and so forth. Everything is going to be smart. So everything is going to transform into smart devices that will use technology to allow it to access any resources, personal and corporate. So we're going to see multiple devices per user, and all those devices will run on different form factors, on different tablets or TV or wearable. But in order even more, the problem is even harder, because there's not only different form factors, there's a huge variety of different OSs, different ROM per each OS, so different Androids, or the same hardware that run Android may run different Androids in different version, in different customization. Each vendor run its own customization, and everything can be rooted in jailbreak. The bottom line, a very big headache. It's very, very hard to control the endpoint, and the user will continue to want the device that suits best to them, and they will continue to want those devices to connect to the enterprise. Now, the second aspect of the new challenge is what are those devices? So instead of corporate devices, those devices are completely personal. Those devices were designed in consumer in mind. Apple and Google, which started the revolution, have consumer in mind as top priority. All the new OSs, all the new announcements focus on how to make the life of the consumer easier, how to make better integration, how to make better user experience, and so forth and so forth. So those devices are going to be very personal. What it means for the DLP or to the data stored on those devices, it means that it has to comply with the fact that the devices they are run on are not corporate on, and they cannot interrupt with the personal or the end user uses of the device. Assuming the user uses it for Facebook, you cannot interrupt with his Facebook usage. Now, those devices are not only personal, they're also shared between family members. So it's not uncommon to see a family sitting in a restaurant and the parents talking with each other and the kids are playing with the daddy's iPhone, which basically means for us that the data, the corporate data that sits on the device is now exposed to the kids. And I can tell you a personal story. My kid was playing Angry Birds on my iPad, and I got an email on this iPad, and the email interrupted him during his play. So instinctively he deleted the email because he wanted to continue to play. And this is not something uncommon. This is something that happens, and we cannot put our hand in the sand and say, hey, it's not happening. So this is another factor we have to know how to deal in this new era. Now, the last item, as you can see here, is lost and stolen. So this is usually, you see it in every presentation. We want to protect against lost and stolen devices. I want to emphasize and even break it into two elements, because it's very important to understand in this new personal and consumer area. Stolen, we all agree. If the device is stolen, we will not see it anymore. We can remote wipe it, we can delete it, we can burn it. We don't care. It's not us. We don't have possession of it anymore. But lost is more complicated, because lost, it's basically our personal device is lost. Now, I tend to lose it in the restaurant, and a friend's house, or whatever, and I will get back, I'll get it back tomorrow. So now there is 1 day or 2 days of I don't have the device with me, but I will not inform anybody because I want the device back. I want my pictures on the device back. So I will not send a remote wipe to it. But the enterprise has to understand this situation and have to provide the right data leak protection to make sure that the waitress or my friend will not be able to look at the corporate content while the device is not in my possession. Now, the current solution in the market, basically we have all the solutions are device-centric, meaning, and MDM is just one example of those. Meaning, in order to enforce data, to control the data and prevent data leak, you have to trust the device. Meaning, we trust that the Apple API, the Google API are okay, and even better, we have to trust that each ROM you saw there is a different and huge variety of devices, different vendor, different jailbreak, different form factors. We have to trust all of them. So we have to trust the Chinese manufacturer's ROM the same as we trust Samsung and Apple. And we have to trust the ROM that on the user decided to install the same as we trust the factory ROM, right? Because there's such a huge variety. Now, in this situation, it's almost impossible to trust the end device to impose and enforce those policies on the device. So it's actually impractical when you're looking at the long term to control the actual end device in order to protect the data on it. Now, of course, it's not supporting device sharing. All those devices rely on a passcode to the device in order to protect the data. My kid knows the password, so there's no, that's actually no problem to delete my emails. They really have very, very minimal DLP capabilities, if any. Only the leading one have something similar to some capability. And the worst thing of all, at least in our perspective, is user hates taking control of their devices. It's my device, it's my personal device, even if the corporate bought it for me. It's my own, I treat it as my own, my Facebook, my images are there. Don't take control of it. I want to use Wi-Fi, I want to use camera, and I want to use the iCloud. So saying that, we try to focus and show you that the world is changing with those mobile devices. Too many devices, the challenge of the DLP of preventing data from being leaked from the device is greater than ever, and the current solution that's out there that concentrate on the device itself do not have any concrete answer to this problem. Let's talk now about Let Mobile and introduce you to a different concept, how you can deal with those kind of problems, and then I will drill back and down and explain exactly what are the problems in DLP. Now, Let Mobile is a gateway solution. It's a server-side solution. The brains of the magic of Let Mobile is not done on the server. It's done inside the Let Mobile cloud or on-premise deployment. So we are deployed in the cloud or on-premise, depends on what you want. Now, what we are completely device agnostic. So we are basically try to enforce all the policies from outside the device, not from inside the device. We do not care what device you're running, if it's a newest Android, the latest Android, the Chinese one, the latest iPhone, we don't care. You get the same level of security across your devices, across your form factors, because everything is enforced from outside the device, not inside the device. As I said, Let Mobile is a secure gateway. We basically, the brains lies inside the gateway. The solution protects all your email suite, attachment, contacts, and so forth. We'll talk about the mobile DLP, central management, and we'll touch base just quickly about the next phase of securing mobile apps. So how the solution works? As I said, we are a gateway. So what it means, there's basically you expose currently the ActiveSync, the email. We are an ActiveSync gateway, currently an HTTP gateway in the near future. So now all the email traffic, which ActiveSync, by the way, is the default protocol for all emails, is passing through the Let Mobile server. So for the inbound traffic, we make sure that everything that goes in your organization is authenticated, is authorized, is okay to get in. Okay, this is the first step. The second step will be to monitor and audit and make sure you know what happens in your environment. The third thing is, at one level up, is profiling. So we can profile a device and a user, and we can give you alert basically if something is strange or suspicious. For example, it's the same user with the same device accesses from the United States, and then 5 minutes later it accesses from China. Something is wrong, we will alert and provide you with the reports to pinpoint and investigate. But the beauty of Let Mobiles is actually relies in the outbound capability. So in the inbound capability, we basically a gateway. The outbound is where the magic happens. Now all the traffic that goes from the device itself, okay, from the corporate data to the device itself, pass through the Let Mobile server. Now the Let Mobile gateway actually extract from the payload itself all the sensitive information, including the attachment, the emails, content, everything that is considered sensitive, and it extracts it, and it sends empty data to the device. So at any given time, the link between the gateway and the device doesn't include sensitive information. So if somebody is able to take your device and have the latest decryption algorithm, he will not be able to find your data because it's actually not there. It's basically protection by absence. Now, furthermore, all the data that goes back to the device is screened and examined using our DLP rules and a real-time engine. And we can do a lot of things on this data and enforce a lot of policies of this data, and we'll touch base on exactly what we are doing in the more elaborating on the DLP specific. So this is the other direction, the outbound. Let's talk about the emails and attachments. And first of all, you probably ask yourself, okay, the data is not on the device, but you said user is key. So how the user sees it? If there's no data, how can he see the emails? So the way it works is very simple. So what you see here is basically an example, a screenshot example of the real iOS device. Now we're using iOS 7, as you can tell, because again, we are a server-based solution and we're independent of the OS itself, so it's very easy for us to migrate to a new version. So this is the iOS combined mailbox. The user just opens his device. It doesn't have to put in a passcode because we don't enforce any passcode on the device. We don't rely on the encryption of the device. Remember, nothing is stored on the device. Once I'm viewing all the emails, and this is the native email application, there's no Let Mobile inside here. It's native. You don't have to do, it's nothing Let Mobile here. This is what Apple produce. Now, as you can see, the third email has its content. It's a personal email. So this email is personal. We're not protecting it. We're only protecting corporate data. We are focusing on protecting the corporate data and separating it from the personal data. So the first two emails are corporate emails. So as you can see, the header are here, but the preview and the data is not here. So the email itself does not sit or is not stored on the device. What happens when I click on the email? Again, everything is inside the native email application. What happens is the email we want to show this, present this email itself, again, inside the native email app. And I'm not logged in. I'm not in session. So it asks me, please, you're not in session, and now you're going to view corporate information, so you have to authenticate. I'm clicking on this link. This is the Let Mobile app. This is the only time you're actually using the Let Mobile app in order to authenticate. I authenticate using my password. The password is configured based on the admin policy. Then I'm go back to the native app. Again, I'm out of the Let Mobile application. It's not the Let Mobile. It's the native app. I can view the email completely. What happened in the background, the user does not notice it. Every time I open an email, the mail application, the native mail application, goes to the Let Mobile server and fetch the email. Think about it like Citrix. So it's projecting the email from the gateway itself. So nothing is stored on the device. Even if I see the email, once I go to another email, it's deleted. So does not store on the device. Everything is fetched like Citrix from the server. So you can see, from the user perspective, I can browse email freely, and there is a session that you as an admin define. You can say 15 minutes, every 15 minutes you have to re-log in, but you can be even more specific and say when you're out of country, so you'll need to log in every 10 minutes, but when you're in your corporate building, then I trust you need to log in every 5 hours. You have a lot of time to log in because you're in a safe location. So the user actually does not know that we are there. Only have to authenticate before viewing the data. The same idea goes for attachment. Now, when in the context of the DLP of the protecting the data from leakage, attachments are crucial. Attachments usually hold the most critical information to the organization. With Let Mobile, again, the attachments are not saved on the device. So even if you break into the device, there's nothing to steal from them. The attachments are viewed from a Let Mobile secure viewer or from a Let Mobile viewer, which is only used for viewing attachment. And it also provides you control on this attachment. So you can prevent saving, you can prevent sending it to Dropbox, iTunes, all the other iCloud, the other solution that's out there. So the attachment is fully contained and controlled. But the best thing about it, you can apply real-time DLP rule that provide you the ability to create exceptions or block it altogether, and we'll talk about it. But think about it like this. When you think about the huge variety of devices and the huge variety of users using it, you cannot create one rule that fits all. Now with this DLP rule, it's very important to create exception based on the rule. So you can say, for example, if this attachment is opened by my CEO and it does not contain any financial information, then I allow my CEO to open it in different application on his iPad only. So you can create all those kind of sophisticated rules in order to answer all the use cases that are out there. In addition, we provide you with a Save As option. So think about it like when you're receiving an email on your Outlook, you click Save As and you save it on your local computer for later viewing. The same goes here. When you receive an attachment, you can save it. But what happens with Let Mobile, as you know, nothing is stored on the device. So the attachment is actually saved on the corporate server. So there's no attachment on the device, but you can access it from the device if you authenticate it. Now, if the device is lost or stolen, you can completely wipe the information from the server and not from the device, and you're completely safe. You don't have to connect to the device and trust its security for your precious files. So this is the secure virtual folder. In addition to all of that, we also provide a self-service portal, so user can add themselves, remove themselves, find themselves on the map. This basically helps the IT to offload a lot of the management, the tedious management tasks. Let's drill down a little bit into the mobile DLP. So as I said, the mobile DLP, we see it as 4 layers. Let Mobile sees it as 4 layers of security. The first is to make sure the data is protected. Okay. The second is to make sure that everybody that looks at or view this data is okay to view it and is doing it from the right place and the right location. The third is making sure that what's downloaded to the device, if we decide to download or not to download, is based on our policy. And the fourth is external to Let Mobile, but it's may be important to you, leveraging the technology you currently have in order to provide more rules and more classification. So the first thing, no data leakage. So as I said, with Let Mobile, nothing is stored on the device. This is, the de facto way. Nothing is stored. There's no way to steal this information. as I also explained, there's no way to save attachment or open them. You have full control of what is saved and what is open on the device. Okay, so you can define the rules and control attachment flow. What I did not mention is the corporate password. Now, as ActiveSync is the default for every mail synchronization, we are an ActiveSync gateway. We are very good in understanding, drill dive into what ActiveSync is. Now, with ActiveSync, you have to put the corporate password on the device, store it on the device in order to connect corporate headquarters. Yes, you can use certificate, but it's much more complicated, and by default, most of customers put the corporate password. Now, what they don't know is it's very easy to steal this password. If you get a hold of this device, you have it physically. There's a lot of out-of-the-box software you can download which can decrypt and find this password. But what's more disturbing, if you're sharing a Wi-Fi network, then by downloading a simple software, anybody can steal your password over the air without even you noticing it. You will not even know it's happened. And once you have the password, game over. You can access and clone your device and do whatever you want. So protecting the corporate password is not less important than protecting your other data on the device. Okay, so with Let Mobile, the same scenario. We are not storing your corporate password on the device. We're giving you a specific password only for this device to place on your mobile device instead of your corporate password. And this password, even if it's hacked or stolen, cannot be used by the hacker. It has no meaning in the corporate. Okay. The fourth thing is forwarding. Now, by default, when you're using the native Mails app, you can decide to forward an email, a corporate email, using Gmail. What happens is the Gmail server is responsible to forward this email. So you lose all control that you have and all solution that you have to enforce policies on your server side, on your Exchange side, because the email is sent from Gmail. So with Let Mobile, we make sure it does not happen, and it's very simple. There's nothing on the device. So if you forward an email from Gmail, you will forward an empty email because it's not on the device. So this is cross devices, Android, iOS, and so forth. The second layer is what we call the access control. So let's start with a simple example. Okay. So let's start with a simple example. We have three scenarios here. One is I'm opening the same attachment. I got an email, I opened the attachment. The same attachment is open from a secure place. Let's say the United States consider by IT as a secure place. The attachment is open, I can read it, no problem. Now I'm traveling. I'm traveling to Europe. Let's say my admin security team decided that everything that is out of the United States is considered medium security. What will happen if I'll open the same attachment in this medium, let's call it, medium risk environment? I will be asked to step up to do another authentication in order to make sure I'm the right person. Now let's imagine I'm continuing my travel, but now I'm traveling to I don't know, a far country like North Korea, which my policy, my IT admin decided that nothing is open on North Korea. We don't trust the network and the connection there. So what will happen here? Instead of downloading and viewing the attachment, the attachment will be blocked. The same attachment open in three different places, different results. Again, remember the granularity that you require with this highly traveling mobile device. To be more specific, what you can do just to emphasize the granularity that you need in order to control this data and to control the different use cases that you will face in this new era, you can define rules based on locations. So if I'm out of country, I would like to open the attachment, not to open the attachment, for a specific country. I can even combine it with the attachment type, saying Word documents will not open when out of country. We can edit another layer of jailbreak rooted, so a document will not open from out of country when the device is jailbroken. And you can even look at the domain or the sender. So you can say if the email was sent from my own domain, then I want to protect it. But if it was sent from Gmail, I don't care. Let it open. It's a personal email, even if it's in my corporate inbox. So there's a lot of granularity and a lot of power in this data leak prevention tools. The third layer is basically content inspection. So you want to make sure that everything that do download the device, like headers, like the subject, can be masked. So you can mask specific words, for example, a $sign and so forth, and it will not be downloaded to the device. But furthermore, you can define filtering and blocking capabilities. So what you will be able to do is basically you will be able to block specific data based on the content of the attachment itself. So let's take an example, or the email itself. So let's take an example. Assuming you define a policy that all emails that are downloaded to the device and include social security number patterns are blocked. Or furthermore, you can say that the attachment itself, the PowerPoint that is viewed on the device, if it includes credit card patterns, then it's blocked again. So we don't allow those to be viewed on the device, and you can add more complex rule, of course, to satisfy your need. What can be more interesting, or even more interesting, is the correlation that we can do between the email and the attachment. Remember, they are combined. The email includes the content for the attachment. So you can say that if the email that includes few attachment has specific keywords, I will not open the attachments. Okay? Or in the opposite direction, of course. So there's a correlation which gives you a lot of flexibility to answer all your DLP requirements. And the last layer is what we call the integration. So you have with us an out-of-the-box API, so you can connect to any third-party DLP system that will help you classify the content, and we will let mobile will enforce the action. Or you can send all the attachment the user are sending from their mobile device. You can send them to your own antivirus and scan them for viruses. So this is the 4 layers and very granular layers of security. I will briefly touch the central management. I assume you're all familiar with this. We have, of course, a web-based central management where admin can define policies, can define the devices, consume the reports, all the audit logs, all the alerts, all the rules are defined in this policy. Everything is reflected in the dashboard, in our reports, and in the rules that you can define. Very, very easy to use, very, very straightforward. One word about the application, and specifically web application. So we are now using the same technology that you just saw for emails and attachment and preventing the data leakage there to web application, mainly HTTP application that communicate with HTTPS, most HTML5 and hybrid and even native application. The way we're going to do it is the same. The gateway is going to stand between the application and your corporate. In the data center, we're going to enforce the same access rules, the same authentication, the same capabilities on your applications. And on the way back, we're going to make sure to run all the DLP policies and all the DLP rules and all the capabilities in order to ensure that data is not downloaded to the device if it's not allowed to. And there is no data stored on the device if we don't allow it, or it's unencrypted or unsafe. So the same concept will be migrated back to the application, and it's something that we expect to release soon. Now, what I want to touch base with you guys is what's currently in the market and how they deal with this the same problem that we've just mentioned and now in this presentation. So the current solution in the market are device-centric. Okay, there is the MDM and the secure container, which trust the device, each one differently, and we're comparing it to the gateway solution on the other hand, which enforce the security from outside the device and not from inside the device. So let's look at the MDM. So from a security perspective, MDM again relies on the device. We explain that there's tons of different vendors, different types of devices out there. It's impractical to rely on the device to enforce security. Furthermore, MDM require to put a passcode whenever you open the device. Now, this is mandatory because this is the only way to encrypt and protect the data. From a user experience perspective, this requires you to put a password whenever you want to use Waze for navigation, you want to use Facebook, and it's usually unacceptable by the user. The user prefer their own devices to be without a PIN. Now, with regard to secure containers, so they provide quite good security. They have a secure container, quite good security. The data is stored on the device, so you can extract it and decrypt it, but from a security perspective, they do provide a good secure solution. The main problem with those guys is even though uh, they separate the corporate and the personal data, they do not provide you the fun of using your device of choice. Apple invested tons and tons of money in the new iOS 7. It provides you tons of new features in the mail application and the combination and the integration with Theory and so forth. When you're using the other solution, the secure container solution, you basically stay in the past. You're not advancing with the technology, and you're losing most of the capabilities of your device. So people resent of those to use this. Furthermore, those solutions, the MDM and the secure container, are priced per device. And as I said, we do believe that there are going to be much more than one device per user. So we price it per user, which increases the cost dramatically. Now, when you compare to a gateway solution, which is device agnostic, but still allow you to use the native mail app, the user still get the good user experience that Apple and Google and so forth provide, but you still get separation of corporate and personal data. So the admin, the security guys, are satisfied with their data leak prevention methodology. So we believe this is a difference between the solution. Now, we do understand that their MDM is out there, and we do believe MDM is a very good solution, some better than other, but they provide a very good solution. But MDM, most and foremost, is asset management, very good solution to manage the devices, very good solution to provision the devices, and so forth. So we believe that Let Mobile is basically enhancing or providing adding the security layer to those devices. Okay, so if you have MDM, it's very good. You can continue using the MDM, but you most likely will need Let Mobile in order to provide you the security layer on top of your device manager. So we see from a lot of customers and for a lot of talks that we are doing that Let Mobile can be used with or without an MDM. So as I said, it can be used to complement the MDM, but there are a lot of use cases where you say, hey, for those bring your own devices, I don't want to use MDM. I just want to protect my corporate information on the device. I don't need the MDM. But for the rest of my organization that are corporate on, I will use MDM and Let Mobile for the security aspects. Few words about our customers. So we have customers from all vertical, from all industries. Most of them some of them use us standalone, some of them use us with current MDM. For just one example, is a big customer of us that have a big sales force. They supply them tablet for their work, and they protect those tablets using an MDM, but they use us for the entire organization to protect their email. Other good customer of us has used Good as a secure container because it was first in the market, and they choose them only for about 10 or 20% of their users. They cannot afford more; it's very, very expensive. And now they use, or not now, the last 2 years, they're using us for protecting their entire Bring Your Own initiative and even corporate-owned devices. So just to summarize, there's a very big shift in the market that is introduced by the vast majority and variety of mobile devices. Okay, the new DLP the old DLP has a lot of challenges it has to face and to answer. Okay, so the current solution, which are device centric, are not suited to answer all those needs. And by introducing a solution, this is basically device agnostic and provide you security by apps, and nothing is stored, so nothing to lose, nothing to steal, and give you fine-grained control, a lot of policy that will answer all your different needs and all your different DLP needs that you probably will face now or in the near future when there's more form factors and more type of devices out there. Okay, and on top of that, it still preserve the user experience that was that came out of the box with your preferred device. So this to summarize this presentation. What I'll try to do now, I'll try to take a few questions, about 3 questions I think, That's what we have time. I'll answer this question. All the other questions that we've received, we'll be happy to send you later on answer by email. So just a second. Let me think. Okay. So what happens when the user is offline? Okay, so this is a very good question. As we said, the solution is based on the fact that the entire world is going to move online. And it's not because of Flat Mobile. We want to believe this, but it's not because of mobile. It's because all the mobile apps must have connectivity in order to work, and the word is going there. So connectivity is going to be better and better, even in remote places. But in the meantime, you may say, yeah, I'm traveling the elevator, I'm using the subway, I don't have a connection. For this, we have a solution which is basically a container per message. So the admin, it's admin policy. So again, you can define it only for specific user or for all user, you decide. In this case, a copy, an encrypted copy of each mail will be downloaded to the device. When you open an email and you cannot view its content because you have poor connectivity or don't have a connection, you will be able, or automatically, depend on your device, or manually, you will be able to click and view the encrypted offline copy. Of course, after authenticated and everything is decrypted. But it gives you a per message offline mode. So basically, when you're traveling the elevator, you open an attachment, an email, you cannot view it, you can view the encrypted offline mode. So this will answer most of these use cases. We do have other offline modes, but this is we can take it offline if somebody is really interested. Let's find another question. You have mentioned that Let Mobile works alongside MDM. Can you elaborate? Okay, so true, we gave several examples. We do have actually several customers that do use this together. Usually, in most cases, MDM is used only for a subset of user, mainly for managed device. Okay, mainly for corporate on device, but mainly for the bring your own initiative and managing the corporate the other devices or the emails and the data they use Let Mobile to provide them with the security they need, because users don't like so much the adding a password. And when you run an MDM, you get this message that says basically, hey, we're going to take control of your entire device, you're going to surrender it to us, we can wipe it, we can remove it, we can do whatever we want with it. And we know a lot of users that are actually saying, no, we don't want it, it's our device, don't do it. Okay, so this is one of the reasons you see that people are also using Let Mobile with an MDM solution. Last but not least, what it takes to try Let Mobile. Okay, so this is actually it's very simple. You can just use our cloud service and use it from there. But just to give you a little bit more understanding about how it works, Let Mobile is currently an ActiveSync proxy. Now, ActiveSync is the protocol used by all devices, all mobile devices, even including the new Blackberries. It's de facto policy. It's supported on all mail servers and on all mobile devices. So basically what it means, it actually means that you only have to route the ActiveSync traffic through the Let Mobile gateway. So you can route it through the cloud, or you can route it if you deployed it in-house, which the deployment is actually very, very simple because it's independent of all the other components in your organization. Now, because we're using standard technology, all your current infrastructure will support it. You don't have to install anything. If you have other gateways, if you have firewalls, a WAF, whatever you have there, everything is standard, so it will work out of the box. It makes your life easier and better. You can trust the technology because it's standard, and there will be more and more network appliances that support it. So to summarize it, it's very easy. You can very easily send us an email. We'll register you in the cloud. You will only have to open the ActiveSync port on your firewall, or if you decide it is about a 1 or 2 hours process of installing Let Mobile in-house on any virtual machine or appliance you have there. Okay, guys, so this summarizes this webinar. I hope you enjoyed and learned. Hope to see you in the next webinar. Thank you very much.